In this video, we're going to talk about colors and blend modes in Figma. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a rectangle, and we're going to outline it over here. And in order to access the color options, simply click on the far right under the fill option, and you're going to see that this small model is going to open up, and by default it's going to be selected on the solid colors. So as you can see, you can easily change the colors of this element directly from here. You have the color wheel. You can even pick and choose a color from the current document. And on top of that, you can easily adjust the transparency of this color directly from here. Now, if you have a design system set up, you can also select the colors from the design system directly from here. So this is going to be document color by default, but if you have other themes, you're going to see them directly on this section. Now let's go on to the next option, which is the gradients, which is probably something that you're going to use quite a lot, especially if you're dealing with digital design projects. And you can easily change the direction of the gradient directly by manipulating these two interpolation points. And as you can see, you can see the preview of these 2 points directly into this model. So if I select the first one and I change the color, you can see how that is being affected in the actual gradient system. And if I select the second one, you can see that there are updates, but they're a little bit more subtle than this solid color. And the reason being is that by default, whenever you select the gradient, you're going to have the second touch point set to 0%. Now simply bring it all the way to 100, and you're going to be able to make those changes very, very easily. Now at this point, another thing that you want to keep in mind is that you're not limited to just linear gradients, but you have the option to select, for example, radial gradients, which, as the name suggests, is going to be more focused on creating a circular gradient around it. You can also switch the order of these gradients real quick by simply changing them and swapping them directly into this element. You can also add more gradient touch points by simply clicking on any area of this area. And as you can see, you can create all sorts of different effects in a very short amount of time. Another gradient option which we have at our disposal is the angular, which is going to be, as the name suggests, a gradient which starts at an angle, goes all the way 360 degrees. Probably not going to use this a whole lot, but definitely good to keep in mind as it's quite helpful for some specific use cases. And also the diamond, which, as the name suggests, is going to create this diamond shape around the gradients. Now, one more thing to keep in mind when it comes to the colors is that by default, the colors are set to hex values, since this is going to be, or actually is, the most used color systems, especially on the web. But you are not limited to only that. You can also select if you want RGB, if you want the CSS RGBA value, which essentially the A stands for alpha, and that is the transparency essentially. So as you can see, the moment that I decrease the transparency on any selected color, this alpha channel, which is the last one, is going to be affected. And also HSL and HSB. So this is pretty much it when it comes to the ingredients, and I'll see you in the very next video.